Hey, what's going on? Welcome back for another tutorial on HTML and CSS. And in this tutorial, I will be showing you what a title is, what a paragraph, and a span, and also the H tags, the heading tags. I'll be showing you what all these are, and then also I'm going to give you a crucial tip for the future for responsive web design. And you don't need to know it right now, but I'm gonna just show you because it's always like really good practice to have this one special little tag in your HTML documents. That way, when you get to the point when you're going to do responsive design, you won't have to redesign your whole website like I did. So please make sure you stick around until the end, but let's get right to it. And the first question is what is the title? So I'm going to just write in between these title tags, this is the title. And I'm going to save it and then come back to our browser where we were before in the last tutorial, and I'll refresh it. And it says this is the title right here. That's what the title does. And as you can see, like on eBay right here, that's their title. So whatever the title of your web page is, this is what it does. And that's all it does. Doesn't do anything else. It's just the title on the tab, but it is important because search engines use it, and a bunch of other services use it to determine what your website's about. It pulls the title of your website. Like if you're sharing a link to your website, it'll pull that title. Sometimes you have to use meta tags for certain websites, but it's always good practice to have that title in there. And so the second thing we'll cover is what is a heading tag. H1, enter. This is a H1 tag. Okay? And so this is H1 stands for heading 1. 1 is the biggest heading in size, and then 6 is the smallest heading. I won't do all of them. I'll just do H3. This is an H3 tag. And then let's do an H6. H6, enter. This is an H6 tag. Space that. Okay, I'm going to save that, and I'm going to come back to the browser and refresh. And by the way, this is how you do this. When you're doing web design, you usually leave the page open and just refresh it. Sometimes you have to go back and delete your browsing history and stuff because sometimes it'll cache the styling. But anyways, you can see the H1 tag is the biggest, and then as you go up in numbers, it gets smaller in size, and then H6 tag. This is just default styling. You can change this with CSS. And let's go back in here, and I will show you what a paragraph tag, how to write a paragraph. Left arrow P, just hit enter. This is a paragraph. And then Control S to save, come back here and refresh, and you can see this is a paragraph. Now let's do a span. Span. This is a span. Control S to save and refresh. This is a span. Now, what's the difference between all these tags? Well, there's two main types of HTML elements. You have your blocked elements and you have your inline elements. What's the difference between a blocked element and an inline element? Well, in short, a blocked element takes up the whole width of one line on that web page. And so like if you have two blocked elements, the first one will be on the first line and the second one will be on the second line. Now, if you have an inline element, it only takes up as much space as it needs. But let me add some CSS into here. You don't have to pay attention to this. I'm going to just use this to demonstrate the difference. I'm going to highlight the text to show you the difference between a blocked element and an inline element. So I'm going to left arrow style, just hit enter, and as you can see, Sublime already puts that in there for us. And then I'm going to target an H1 tag and space, curly brackets, and then background color, and green is what I'm going to set that to. And then I'm going to also target the paragraph, open and closing curly brackets, background color, yellow, and then also the span. Same thing, background color, red, and I will save it. I'll come back here and I'll refresh it. Now, What's the difference? Do you see the difference? The H1 tag, like I said, it's a blocked element. And so it takes up the whole width of one line on the screen. And as you can see, since I highlighted the background, you can see this takes up a whole width of the screen. I didn't highlight this one. Let me just remove those so that they're not, that way you don't get confused. So I'll refresh it, and you can see this is a paragraph. Like I said, a paragraph also it's a blocked element, it takes up the whole width of the screen for one line, and the span only uses as much or little space as needed. So, like, when would you use these? Like, you'd use a paragraph tag for a paragraph, and you'd use a span tag to do styling. Usually span tags are used to do styling because it doesn't mess with, the spacing on the pages. So like you can highlight text within a paragraph, for instance. And so that's the main difference between those three tags. And that's how you can easily, I know it doesn't look good. It doesn't really look like a website at this point, but it's a start. And, these are some of the really basic elements, and this will get you started. So just, copy what I did and write your own paragraph. You can write whatever you want in there. And let me show you the line break right quick. So I'm going to delete everything. And so you would think, that if you put you press enter a couple of times, it would space down a couple of times. Well, that's not the case. That doesn't work. The browser won't actually recognize that as a break. So what you have to do, like let's just say we put two paragraphs, right? This is a second paragraph. And then I'm going to save this, come back here, and refresh that. And as you can see, there is some spacing between the two, but that's just default. And so, like, let's say I wanted more spacing. Let me try to just hit enter, right? And see, now it should have a lot of spacing. So I'll save it. And as you can see, nothing happens. Why does nothing happen? Well, because the browser does not recognize that as spacing. What you have to do is you have to put left arrow BR for break. Now, I'll save this, come back here, refresh, and you'll see it'll move down some, as you can see. And if we want to put another one, we can put another one and come back here and refresh after you save, and you can see it moves down some more. And so that's the line break. And let me come back on my promise. I promised I would show you that one special little thing so you wouldn't have to redesign your whole website once you get into responsive design. Let me show you that. Okay, so I've got it right here, and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to come in here and just under the title, I'm going to paste it in. These two lines. This top line isn't important, really. It's just good practice to have this top line. It just tells the browser what character encoding you're using. They used to use ASCII, but now it's UTF-8. If you don't put that, it's no big deal. You don't have to have that. It's just good practice to have it. Now, this is the really important part. And this won't make really any difference at this point, but when I go to teach like how to do responsive design with CSS and how to use media queries will not work without this meta tag. So you need this meta tag. And the reason I am teaching you this now is so that you can make sure you include this in all of your HTML documents, because if you don't and you find out that, oh, my media queries aren't working, and then you're like, oh, I need that meta tag, and you put that meta tag in there, it'll throw everything off. Like all your sizes and like your pixels will be different, and you'll have to redesign the whole thing. So make sure you put this. It's very important. And so that concludes this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this content. I hope you found some value in it. And if you like this, please make sure you hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed already and you want updates like my next tutorials I'm going to be coming out with, hit that subscribe button, enable those notifications. That way you get a notification when I come out with a new tutorial. And also leave me a comment. If something didn't make sense, leave a comment and I will try my best to answer it. And as always, thanks for watching.